You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to rpurham.com or follow me on all social media platforms and subscribe at RPURHAM. Thanks. See you over there. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Permanent Associates. I'm your host. Y'all should know me by now. But if in case you don't, it's your first time or whatever, welcome, Randy Purham. Hey, I hope y'all had a fantastic week so far. Although it's just Monday, but still, nonetheless, you're having a fantastic Monday. But hey, we got a very special guest with us. We're both on time constraints today, but we're gonna get through this. But you're gonna get the information that you need to know so you can go vote for it. We got none other than Sarah Moore. She is a mom of four, career prosecutor, and a board-certified attorney who's tried over 100 felony jury cases across Texas. Sarah has earned statewide awards for ethics and victim advocacy and is respected as a leader who trains other attorneys on fairness and professionalism. Sarah knows what it means to work hard, serve with integrity, and make tough decisions with compassion. She is running for the brand new 512th District Court, which will serve all of Williamson County, handling felony, criminal, and civil matters. She'll bring experience, balance, and common sense to the bench, exactly what Williamson County, and I would say the rest of the United States and counties families deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the some and presenting the others, Miss Sarah Moore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. So, tell us, Sarah, the 512th District Court, brand new court, newly created here in Texas and Williamson County specifically. Tell us about the court, I guess you could say the origin story behind it, and let voters know what to expect out there.
Sure. I think that Williamson County, obviously the population has increased significantly over the last 35 years. And that's how long it's been since a felony criminal court has been created in Williamson County. So this was kind of years in the making. It had been in front of the commissioners multiple times, but this year we kind of all, I think, recognized that the need had gone as far as it could go. It had been kicked down the road as far as we could kick it, and now it was time to decide. So our county commissioners agreed to create a new court, and that's the process for a new district court. Commissioners have to approve it. Once they do that, it then goes in front of the House and the Senate and then has to get final approval from the governor. So all of that happened in the second special session, and we now have a brand new court for felony criminal matters and civil cases.
Neat. When you said that this has been like 30 years in the making, I just immediately just said, okay, so what happened to all those cases that needed to be heard in the meanwhile?
Yeah.
Were they just sitting around, or they just said, you'll be all right, get over it, move on?
Yeah, those are good questions. I think part of it is just that the caseload has increased over time. And when you work in the system, you know that discovery in each case has also increased exponentially because now we have digital discovery. So every time somebody's wearing a body cam, that's hours of video footage. Every time that we take a cell phone, that's an insane amount of data that now people have to look through. So each case takes longer to review. There's more evidence in each case. There are more cases. And we're still operating on the same checkout lanes like at a grocery store, right? We just needed a new lane to push some of these. And then you add COVID into the mix. Now, I would say that everyone has cooperated pretty well in the system. And I don't think that we have some catastrophic backlog, right? I mean, everyone's worked hard to keep the caseloads at a level that everyone can manage.
Yeah.
But the need for this court really was apparent to everyone in the system. It's already operating. So by order of the governor, it started on December 1st. There's a visiting judge.
Okay.
The district attorney's office already has a team of employees working in that court. So there are cases being heard in the 512th District Court at this time, and it's already created a little bit of space in each of the other existing courts to move cases and be more productive in dockets. So we're really excited about it.
Okay, awesome. And I'm glad you clarified that, because I'm thinking like, man, this case is just sitting there for like 30 years, and like, yeah, we're waiting on the court to come along. So, but that's good to know. And,
Thankfully, no.
and I'm glad Williamson County is not in that boat, because there are places like that in Texas.
Yes, there are.
Believe it or not, there are cases that's been sitting for decades, and people then came, went, died, moved, and was born, and
Yes.
all kinds of stuff. So that's interesting. Now, I wanted to, I'm quite curious. So the district court, so the 512 district court, it's falling under the Texas judicial apparatus and not the federal apparatus of the court system. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, there was a glitch. I missed. It's falling under what?
The 512th District Court, it falls under the Texas judicial apparatus and not the federal. Because when people hear district court, there might be
Yes.
like a federal court system, but this is
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yes, there are judicial districts. So, for example, in Williamson County, the district attorney's office is actually formally and legally called the Office of the 26th Judicial District Attorney. So there are judicial districts across Texas. It is definitely not a federal system. It is part of the state of Texas system.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, for those that are watching and listening, in case you didn't know this about Texas, I think this is only unique to Texas from what I was told. But I could be wrong there too, and they could have been wrong when they told me that. But Texas has two Supreme Courts in a sense. They have the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, and then the Texas Court of what is it called? Help me out.
It's just the Texas Supreme Court.
Yes, that's exactly, yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
when people say, "Oh, I'm going to appeal this to the Supreme Court," in Texas, it's like, well, that doesn't fall under the purview of the Supreme Court. That falls under the criminal appeals Supreme Court. And they're like, wait, what? Huh? And so, talk to us about that a little bit, because that is a unique system. It's not just one Supreme Court in Texas, too. So, talk to us.
That's correct. So, sure. So Texas has a Supreme Court, just like other states. It's exactly what you think of. That's the highest appellate court in the state. But unlike other states, Texas has what's called the Court of Criminal Appeals. And that operates essentially like the Supreme Court for criminal cases only. So if you have a criminal case in a district court, like the court I'm running for, and you have a problem, you want to appeal that, you go up to the courts of appeals. That's the mid-level court, or what we call intermediary courts. And then if you take it from there to have it appealed again, you're going to the Court of Criminal Appeals, and that's the highest criminal court in the state of Texas.
And our good friend Judge Yeary, he gave us a tour of the court here in Austin a few months ago, and I was just so blown away and intrigued at the setup and the way it works. And he's like, yeah, the death sentences, the death penalty cases are heard here. So it's like,
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, because at your level, you're kind of like, you're sentenced to death, and then it gets appealed, and it goes, 2 more levels before it's finally adjudicated that yes, this person will die. So a lot of people don't understand this mechanism, and they just think that when a person is sentenced to death, that was the first hearing and that was the last hearing, and that was it. It's like, no, that actually went through a series of hearings and levels of bunch of people were involved in this decision. So it wasn't just one random
That's
judge.
exactly right.
Yeah, yeah, and it's okay, you know, because our education system sucks in the United States. We just fell away from civics, so I expect the stupidity here and there. But Sarah, talk to us about what kind of experience you're going to bring to the court, and what you intend to do there.
Sure. So just professionally, let me cover that real quick.
Yeah.
So I've been a trial attorney for 18 years. That means that almost every week for the last 18 years, I have spent time in the courtroom. I have practiced in courts. I started in Bexar County, so San Antonio. I have been a defense attorney. I've been a civil attorney. And all of that is important. And the choices that I made along the way were so that I could stay home with my children when they were little. And then I went back to being a prosecutor. But having worked in all of those different courtrooms in front of different judges, managing different sized caseloads, in one jurisdiction where I was first assistant district attorney, I had 2,800 cases. And that was the number of cases between the 4 counties that our office served. So the dockets in Williamson County being much smaller, the benefit to having come from all these other different experiences is that I know how to manage a docket. And that is important, and you need that experience because that is how you avoid delays in the criminal justice system. And we certainly don't want people sitting in jail that shouldn't be there any longer than they should be or have to. And we don't want cases for the state to prosecute to run into challenges because, like you said, the longer they sit on the docket, the less witnesses are available, the less evidence might be possible to present to jurors. So there's a lot of interest from everybody to move cases along. That experience allows me to do that. I was awarded the Texas Lone Star Prosecutor Award in 2020, and that is one award given out of over 7,000 prosecutors in the state of Texas. And that was for job work that I did with a victim in a case. I advocated to not allow her cell phone to be taken from her. They tried to take it from her outside the courtroom. Ultimately, that went up to the courts of appeals and has resulted in case law that now attorneys get to rely on across the state. I teach nationally and statewide on trial advocacy skills, professionalism, and ethics. And that's to the state bar, so it includes the defense bar, prosecutors, all of it. So professionally, I certainly have the experience necessary for the job.
Awesome.
But I think personally, it's also, personally, there's an element of knowing who I am. I have led teams of over 150 employees. So I know who I am as a leader. I know who I am professionally because I've had it tested in the courtroom over and over and over again. And I've made mistakes. When we first start, you take everything personally. You get riled up the moment that somebody's arguing the case and you think it's your own. And so you get, right? And so we've all made mistakes and we learn from those. But if you haven't had the opportunity to learn who you are in the courtroom and who you are as an advocate and an attorney, then I don't think that you're ready to be on the bench because you have to really understand who you are as a person and not be learning it as you go because knowing who you are leads to consistency. And that is the kind of judge that I think our community values the most.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you there. And thank you for laying out the case there because it's important for the audience to know and understand like what a judge should look like. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the qualifications for a judge is very minimal. If I'm not mistaken, I may be crossing professions here, but I believe that judges do not have to have a law degree and stuff. Is that correct?
So some judges do not, and that's where we sort of do ourselves a disservice by calling everybody judges. So for example, the county judge does not have to be an attorney because the county judge is just ruling over the commissioner's court. Yeah. So that person does not need to. We have JP judges who also do not have to be attorneys. But once you get up to county courts and district courts, with very few exceptions, there are exceptions for county courts in rural jurisdictions where the population is not high enough. where county court judges do not have to be attorneys. But for the most part, county judges, and we're talking judges who actually have a courtroom, who hear criminal cases, so that would be misdemeanor criminal cases and certain civil jurisdictions. And then once you get to the felony level, yes, for this judge, for this court, you have to be a licensed attorney. You have to have been practicing at least 10 years in the state of Texas. And then you also have to be a resident of the county for a certain period of time. So I would agree that those are kind of minimal, because I think of where I was 10 years into my career, and I feel like I've grown so much since then.
Right. And so, and thank you for, that's going to be my next question. Like, what compelled you to want to run to be a judge versus say, you know what, I'm in a pretty cushy job right now. I don't really need the headache, I can just, coast this outfit until, I hit retirement age. What made you decide to do this?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I have had other opportunities to run for benches in other places where I've lived. And each time I thought, you know what, I'm not done. I'm still advocating. I'm still working as an attorney. I really enjoy advocating in the courtroom. And I kept thinking, every time I try a case, I learn something about the law, because the law is written and we're not trying to change it. But every situation that we bring into the courtroom is unique in its own way. It's its own set of facts, circumstances, different set of evidence. So the application of the law looks different almost every time. Right. So I kept learning, and I kept thinking, I'm not ready to be a judge because I'm still learning. I still think I'm learning, but I think I've reached the point now where it is rare that I'm surprised in the courtroom. It's rare that I come across something where I don't have some sort of experience.
So tell us, what case have you had that you litigated that was like, it did surprise you, like, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go? 'Cause we all had that situation in our lives. We're like, okay, I planned that out like to the T, and it didn't work out.
Yes.
What was one of your most memorable ones?
That's hard. I think that what happens particularly to a prosecutor, right? Because we share our entire case with the defense attorney. Mm-hmm. So they should not have very many surprises because we've shared everything. Right. What we don't know is what the defense attorney will bring in. So I've had some very unique legal arguments made that I did not anticipate because they are so unique. And so there's been times where I had to argue, wow, okay, well, I didn't think about that. That's interesting. Okay, sure. But or sometimes where a victim maybe is not able to testify in the way that maybe we had prepared, and they felt confident about it. And then when the day comes, they're too scared. That happens sometimes with kids. And then all of a sudden you're not getting any of the testimony that you thought you would get. And so you're just kind of, okay, well, now what? So I think those are more of the surprises.
Okay. What was your favorite one that you've done?
My favorite case or my favorite surprise?
Your favorite case.
Okay. I think that the one that comes to mind immediately, it was a murder case, and it was kind of a drug deal gone wrong. It included a number of young people. They'd met up through social media for this exchange where one person went presumably to sell a cell phone. And when they went into the room, there were some guns involved. One kid was shot immediately in the doorway of the hotel room, and the other was shot in the back as he was fleeing the hotel room, where he ultimately ended up paralyzed from the waist down, but he did survive that. And the reason, obviously, the circumstances don't make it my favorite, but the legal part was actually really fascinating because for the first time ever, I introduced at trial over 23,000 pages of Facebook records. And so both sides were pulling from 23,000 pages and just putting conversations up for the jurors to read. And so there I am having to read in my closing argument words that I would never say in normal conversation. Right. And so you have things and the way they're spelled, so there I am phonetically
trying to, yeah.
pronouncing things. So I'm finna come, and so there I am standing and the jurors are laughing, but I'm reading what's on the
Right.
screen.
Yeah.
And so that kind of makes it, kind of fun to do the job.
100%.
And ultimately we got a guilty verdict. So that made it something I could look back at now fondly and not,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not
No,
be upset. But
that's awesome. And you're right. Being a prosecutor, being a lawyer, being just in a courtroom, you run across those kind of situations where you're looking at something. You're like, okay, how am I going to present this to the jury? How am I going to present this to the judge?
yes.
And even in my own experience in the courtroom, not that I'm a lawyer or anything like that, ladies and gentlemen, but I do have some experience. I could just walk into a courtroom and I could argue a case, and because I actually took law in high school, so we was it was kind of like I'm not going to say a fast track course or anything like that, but it was just like, if you want to take this course, be prepared to take this course, type of thing. And
Yeah.
one of those elective classes in high school, and I loved law at that time, so we
Yeah.
come to class, we had to wear suits, we carried briefcases, we laid it out so the class was set up like a courtroom, and so that was our class. Like, it's like how to argue
Yeah.
cases and stuff like that. And so, fast forwarding, I just recently, couple not recently anymore now. It's what's this? 2026, so 2024. Yeah, wow, time is flying. My divorce case.
Oh no.
I was my pro se. I was my own attorney, in my divorce case. And my ex-wife, she had a lawyer and everything. And the judge was like, you could tell the relationship with the lawyer and the judge, they were like besties. And I had to go to court a few times on this case, and I could just see the relationship and their interactions, and they'd giggle and laugh and come back, and he'll look at me like, I shouldn't did that, and I'm like, impropriety. and the judge kind of like looked like, yeah, okay. So she was trying to get all serious and everything, and I'm just like, And so I was like, presenting like all this evidence of my ex-wife calling the cops on me, like false reports and everything else, and because she was trying to get my pension and all this kind of stuff, and the judge was like, yeah, you're not going to get anything. So I was like,
Wow. You were not expecting that.
I was not expecting that. No, and so and the lawyer, he was even like, okay, and I was like, so am I getting my divorce granted? And she was like, yes. And she signed. I was like, thank you. That's all I care about right now.
You're like, did I win?
Yeah, I just ran downstairs to the clerk's office, like, give me 5 copies of this.
Yeah.
So but for those that don't understand, being a pro se attorney for yourself, and pro se means your own lawyer, basically, ladies and gentlemen, for those that never heard that term, you have to study, you have to like look at everything that you're not only going to present, but with him and I, we actually had conversations. I had a hard drive. Where is this? I still got it on my desk somewhere over here. Yep, here it is, right here. I had a hard drive of evidence of emails, text, like you just said, the Facebook screenshots of her, saying stuff and coordinating things, and because we had so many mutual friends, and they were like looking out for me, so they would screenshot and send it to me, like, this is what she said, and all that. So I had to, you have to do that to survive in life.
Yeah.
So.
And you have to figure out how to get it into the legal way, right?
Make it admissible, admissible evidence. Because the judge at first, she was not going to allow me to admit the hard drive, and I was like, I said, so you want me to print off, 10 gigabytes of stuff and get CDs or videos when all of it's already condensed, and all you gotta do is just plug it in and look at your leisure? She was like, good point.
Yes.
Like, Office Depot is down the street. I can make it happen, but if you want to do that, and so.
But how much law did you learn by having to prepare for that case and that issue? And I mean that as a serious question. You had to learn a lot, right?
I did, because I had to blend. So I had to learn both Texas civil law in terms of marriages, and I had to apply federal law in terms of military
Yeah.
marriages. And so
Yeah.
it was a so going through all of that, and the other little
Yeah.
I guess you'd say minor regulations that's governing
Yeah.
VA benefits and stuff like that, and what she's entitled to post marriage, and for how long I have to do it for. And it was a lot of stuff, and so our divorce took 3 years to get through, and but it got done.
So if you had just been a spectator in that case, do you feel like you would understand the law the way that you do, having been in it?
No, no, not at all.
No, right?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah. And so that's why I say all the time, there's no substitute for reps in the courtroom. It's kind of like anything else. I can watch other people work out and do workout videos and just watch them.
You won't get swole.
But that doesn't make me a personal trainer, right?
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't make me an athlete just because I'm a fan. I mean, I love certain football teams, and I just won't mention them lest we divide your audience. But, but I love college football, but that I'm not a college football player just because I watch and I understand the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important that we have judges who are trial attorneys, not just people who've sat at a desk and read cases or even watched, but people who've been in the courtroom, because that is the only way. Every case I've prepared for, I've learned more of the law, because just like you, I had an issue or I had evidence I wanted to get in. I had to learn how.
Yeah.
So I had to learn more law, right? And so each time you do that, you learn more. Do that 100 times, and you've learned some pretty significant law over time that now I can just pull from. Oh yeah, I remember that. We encountered that in that case. Next time somebody tries to introduce 23,000 pages of Facebook records, I will know not only what I think the law says, but I'll also know what the Court of Appeals thought, because that case went up on appeal, and then we get to learn from the reviewers, right? Okay, did we apply it correctly? And so that learning process only happens, I think, in the courtroom, and we need more trial attorneys as judges, because they understand both people's role, and they also know a lot more law. So they're not having to look it up and learn it as they go.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's important. That is very important. And Dylan, same thing when we bought a house back in 2014. That actually turned a little legal. It was like, going through the contracting and everything else, and I was striking things out of the contract, like the HOA participation, and it was like, you can't do that. And I was like, why not? I was like, if I'm not agreeing to the terms of the contract, then I'm changing the terms of the contract. But there is a law. But there is a law that says that if a business or entity presents a contract, the contract cannot be changed. In that light. And so I argued. I said, well, you can't force me to enter into a contract on terms that I don't agree with. Because I said now we're not going into torts.
But they can.
Yes, they can. But they was kind of like,
they can.
I think they was so thrown off that I was actually arguing this, and I was doing it. They was just like, I guess he could do this because he's saying something I've never heard, And so.
And then eventually they told you, well, you can either sign it if you want to live here, or you can go live somewhere else.
Yes, yeah. But they let me get away with it.
Lawyers, they give us a bad name.
Yep. So I got away with it for that first few minutes, But it was. I was arguing about the forcing of joining the HOA that they were bringing to them. They was trying to create a HOA, and it actually subsequently didn't happen because. I guess the rest of the neighborhood was just like, yeah, no, we're not going to join the HOA. We've been living here for years and blah, 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 and whatever else. I was just new kid on the block, like, hell no, I'm not joining the HOA.
So you're going to be running for judge soon. Is that what I hear?
No, absolutely not. No, I do not want to. I do not want that headache. No, thank you. But I would be happy to assist the judge in figuring out some things and help argue a case with I'll be a test subject type of thing. I want to ask you, there's I guess you could say, I was in a conversation the other day with another attorney, and we was arguing about how to say stare decisis.
Stare decisis?
I was going to say, or stare decisis. So I say stare decisis, and they're like,
And they're like, no, it's stare decisis.
Stare decisis.
But you know what? Texans already pronounce things weird.
We do.
So we call jury selection, we call it voir dire here in Texas, which we may as well just say voir dire because that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Because other places in the country, like the actual pronunciation is voir dire. And then some people in some states say, what is it? Voir dire. And then Texas just goes straight off the books, and we're just like, it's voir dire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I agree. So I want to ask you, how much Latin have you studied? Because a lot of lawyers
almost zero.
really, that's shocking. That is shocking.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
shocking. Because I know.
I mean, I went to public school, so I learned Spanish, and I am,
Okay,
pretty
that's
proficient in Spanish.
That's close.
I don't even know if they offered Latin in my public school, and I went to a great school. So for anybody listening, my school was fantastic. I had almost 700 kids in my graduating class. I was one of 24 valedictorians, so woo-woo. But I did not learn Latin, so that was not required to be valedictorian.
No, I asked that because for the audience, a lot of our laws are derived from Latin, or it has Latin related terms in it, and so
Yeah.
you find lawyers that will study Latin to get a concrete
Yes.
understanding of the origins of those said laws that may have been derived from Latin, and so. It's interesting, you're not the first. You're not the only one. Don't feel bad. Don't be like, oh, I need to go study Latin now. Damn, he put me on Latin. No, you're not the only one.
I learn what I need of Latin when I need it.
Right,
So
yeah.
when somebody throws out a phrase and I feel kind of dumb, I go and look it up. I'm like, what was that? And then I feel pretty good. Oh, I know some Latin now.
Yeah. Because Latin, is the base language of the 5, I guess you would say, Romantic
Yes.
languages and everything. So I find the language fascinating. It's hard for me to speak it. I can write it, I can read it a little bit, but to speak it, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Who are you gonna practice that with?
Exactly. Now you go to Rome. A lot of them speak.
Okay.
Latin. A lot of them would speak Latin in Rome because I lived in Italy, so living in Naples, going down to Rome a lot for business. You coming, especially in the parts around where the Vatican is. A lot of them will speak.
Yeah,
Latin.
I bet.
A lot of them speak Latin, and there's a blend of Latin and Italian, so you kind of got to really pay attention to where they're throwing the dialects in there, and you're like, what? Like, oh, Spanish.
So I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna look up on Duolingo now because right now I'm learning Ukrainian, but now I'm gonna have to add in Latin. If Duolingo has a Latin thing, yeah. Now I'm gonna add that. So now I'm gonna add another language. Thanks.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I help everybody out. But
I'm gonna call you.
yeah, it's interesting that you're learning Ukrainian. You kind of might as well pick up Russian in the process because there's a lot of bleed over there and some changes. I can't get down with Russian. I try.
No.
It's just no. Forget about it. And I had some friends.
Some of it is a little bit like Spanish.
It is, yeah.
So surprisingly, if I can hear it, I can pick the right words.
Yep.
But the letters, the alphabet, are completely foreign to me.
Yeah.
What is that? The Cyrillic alphabet?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Yep,
Yeah.
Cyrillic. Yeah. It's almost. Yeah, I could probably read cuneiform better than I could read the Cyrillic alphabet.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this some ancient alien stuff?
Exactly.
What's going on here? What is this?
Yeah.
So it's totally like hieroglyphic.
I'm like, why is the B, a P sound? And then the letters don't make sense to me. So I'm working on it. It's slow. I mean, Duolingo tells me I'm doing great.
Good.
Like 94% great. And I'm like, how do I get to 100?
That's awesome.
It's kind of my personality.
Yeah, no, that's a good deal. Yeah, I had some friends that was Ukrainian when I lived in Italy. One of them was my masseuse, actually. And she was trying to teach me how to speak Ukrainian. I was just like, stop.
Yeah.
It's not sticking. Just
Yeah.
just give it up.
No,
She's like,
no.
okay, you
Uh-uh.
lazy American, you lazy American. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I like total okay. I don't care.
Yeah.
So, but Sarah, this is awesome. Tell us how can people follow you, support your campaign, and those in Williamson County. Make sure you go out and vote. In the primaries, 17 actually the Republican primary. You are running on a Republican ticket, correct?
I am.
I
Yes.
never asked.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the Republican primary, so we don't confuse the voters, and they like, I want to go vote for
Yes.
me. They're a Democrat, and then they're like, I don't see your name. The Republican primary
Yeah.
on the 17th of February to the 27th, and then actual election day, March 3rd. Williamson County, get out there
Yes.
and vote and support. Sarah, tell people how they can follow you and support you.
Well, I have my website, which is moreforwilco.com. It's just MOOREFORWILCO.com. And that will lead you to my social media pages. I have a pretty active Facebook and Instagram page where I post all the things that I always either forget to talk about or don't talk about. Like I said, things like this morning, delivering food to people in Georgetown and things like that I just put on there because I want you to get to know me. So if you have access to social media, that's a really good way to get to know me and see where my interests are and see what my heart is and to see why I want to help Williamson County have a judge that they can be proud of. And I want to serve my county. So what I need right now, because we are just a couple of weeks away, is if you are able to financially support my campaign. I cannot thank you enough. I try to be fiscally responsible with that money, but I'm trying to reach a very large county. So I am always appreciative of donations, which you can access from my website as well. And then just if you want to stand at a poll location and wave a sign and be a Sarah fan and supporter and a hype person, I would love to have you on my team. So just reach out. And I always give out my cell phone number. Hope that's okay. It's actually 210-825-8959. So area code 210. I grew up in San Antonio. So 210-825-8959. Please reach out. I love to talk to voters if you have any questions. Thank you.
Awesome. You're brave. I will not give up my. Although I'm, being in the public life now, I'll give up my number. Yes, but yeah.
I can't promise I'll answer the first time, but if you follow up with a message or a text, then I'll probably call you back.
I'll return your call if you leave a message. But if you just call me just a call,
Yes.
I'm not answering. Sarah, thank you so much.
That's right.
This was awesome. I gotta bring you back on so we can get into some little controversies, but we'll leave it.
Yes,
leave it at that.
and then I'll know Latin.
Yeah.
Awesome. So give me a little bit.
Yeah. No worries. But I appreciate you being on today. I truly appreciate it, and be safe out there on the trail. I look forward to seeing you out there soon, and good luck out there.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, very welcome.
All right.
God bless.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sarah Moore. Hey, definitely check out her website, moreforwilco.com, and you can you can donate. You can pick up some money and donate it to her. There you go. You can pick up some money and donate it to her, and or you can just see who she is, what she's about. And the 512, learn about the 512 District Court in Williamson County. It is solely going to be situated in and for Williamson County, Texas. So check that out, learn some history and whatnot. And outside of that, folks, I'm going to get up out of here. But before I go, be sure to visit my Give, Send, Go for Book Project 2025 and place your orders. For Polarizing America, A Dichotomous Society is coming out, April 14th. It will be in a bookstore near you, wherever you shop and get your books. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target for you bougie people, and all that good stuff. and check that out. So, all right, folks, I'm going to get up out of here. I will catch you all sometime this week, I think. I don't know. We'll see. You know how I'm rolling these days, so I go with the wind. But y'all be safe. God bless you, and catch y'all soon. Ciao. I hope you enjoyed today's program. You can follow, like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Substack, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and your news. And also, you can download Let the Truth Be Told app on your favorite streaming platforms, such as Fire Stick, Apple TV, and Roku. Take care. God bless.